Buckle up, everyone, because today we are diving headfirst into a story that has the financial world buzzing.
And the political world, too, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. It's the wild ride of Trump Media and Technology Group. You know, the parent company of Truth Social. They just had a record-breaking day on the stock market.
And not the kind of record anyone wants to set.
Oof, yeah. Not a good look. So we're talking about TMTG's stock performance and what this sudden nosedive might tell us about the unpredictable world of markets and elections.
It's all connected, isn't it?
More than ever these days. And especially when you have a company so closely tied to a major political figure like Donald Trump.
Right, exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right? You've got this company, TMTG, experiencing this massive surge in its stock price.
Like over 200% in just a month.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. And much of that, it seemed, was driven by all the speculation surrounding the 2024 election.
Speculation that Trump might win, you mean?
Exactly. I mean, the polls are showing a pretty tight race between Trump and Kamala Harris.
And those polls, they're giving Trump a slight edge in terms of actually winning, even if Harris was a smidge ahead in the popularity polls, right?
Yeah, 538, they had Harris slightly ahead, 48% to like 46.7% for Trump. But their model gave Trump a slightly better chance of winning the whole thing, 51% to 49%.
Wow, so close. No wonder everyone was on edge.
And that uncertainty, that's what fueled a lot of the investment in TLCG. People were betting on Trump, essentially.
And then, bam, this massive drop.
It was a steep one, 22.29% just on Wednesday. Closed out the day at $40.03 a share.
Down from $51.51 the day before.
Talk about a roller coaster. And to put it in context, this is the worst trading day TMTG has seen since it went public back in March.
Worse than that other big drop back in April.
Yeah, April 1st, they had a dip of 21.5%. But this is a whole other level.
And of course, this isn't just about the company itself, is it? This hits Trump's personal net worth pretty hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he owns over half of TMTG's shares. 57.3% to be exact.
So that plunge wiped out, what, a couple $1 billion of his net worth?
Pretty much. Went from almost $6 billion down to 4.6. Just like that.
Wow. I mean, for a while there, it looked like TMTG was going to overtake Elon Musk's X, the platform formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, that was a hot topic for a minute. But this drop, it's kind of changed the conversation, hasn't it?
Big time. And what's really weird is that TMTG hasn't said anything officially about this whole thing.
Right. No statement, no explanation, nothing.
Which just adds to the mystery, doesn't it? Like, what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, it certainly leaves us with a big question mark. I mean, why the sudden freefall? Stock prices, they're usually a reflection of, investor confidence. So did something happen to shake people's faith in TMTG specifically?
Or is this something bigger? Like, is the whole market taking a hit?
That's a good question. It's possible that this is part of a wider market downturn. We've seen some volatility lately, so maybe TMTG is just getting caught up in the current.
But I can't help but wonder, is this a sign that the market's, getting cold feet about Trump's chances in 2024?
It's possible, right? I mean, remember how Harris's campaign was really gaining steam back in July?
She did seem to have some good momentum going for a while.
She did, but then there were a few, let's call them missteps, that might have given Trump a bit of a boost.
You talk about those fumbles everyone's been mentioning?
Yeah, like her economic policy proposals. They got criticized for being a little vague.
Right.
And then there was that gaffe during the Florida campaign event. Didn't go over too well with some voters.
And on the flip side, Trump's been laser focused on immigration. Even calling Harris the border czar,
which doesn't really exist, does it?
Well, not a real title.
Yeah.
But it seems to be working for him, at least with a certain segment of voters.
It's definitely a strategy. Meanwhile, Harris has been going after Trump's, his temperament, his fitness for office. Remember that powerful line from her speech?
Oh, yeah. When she called him, what was it? Unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
Exactly. Strong words.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you've got these two very different campaign strategies playing out, and maybe investors are trying to figure out how it's all going to shake out in the end.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Trying to predict the future and whether TMTG is a good bet based on how the election might turn out.
Exactly. But we also have to remember that there could be other things going on in the market, right? Not everything is directly tied to the election.
Oh, absolutely. Market dynamics are super complex. I mean, was there a big sell-off by some of the major institutional investors? Did short sellers see an opportunity to, profit from a dip?
I don't even know how all that works. It's like a whole other language.
It kind of is. And then there's the broader economic context. Are investors getting nervous about inflation, interest rates, what's happening globally? All of these things can have an impact.
So many factors to consider. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got this huge stock plunge, a very heated political race, and a bunch of unanswered questions about, well, about what's driving the markets.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. What does this all say about where things are headed, both for the election and for TMTG?
I wish I had a crystal ball. But what this does show us is how closely intertwined the markets are with, well, with everything else. It's like this giant barometer of public sentiment reflecting all the hopes and fears people have about the future.
It's kind of fascinating in a nerve-wracking kind of way.
Exactly. And this whole TMTG saga, it's a perfect example of that. The way the stock price has reacted to all these different events is like a real-time window into how people are feeling about, well, about the political landscape, the economy, everything.
And how unpredictable it all is.
Yeah.
I mean, who could have predicted such a massive swing in TMTG stock?
Right. That's the thing about the markets and about politics, too. Just when you think you've got a handle on things, something comes along and throws everything for a loop.
Well said. And that's why we'll be keeping a close eye on all of this as it unfolds. This is far from over, folks.
Oh, absolutely. This story's just getting started. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned indeed.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more insights and analysis. Until then, keep those thinking caps on.